Hey, this is Tiberius, and I'm really glad you're here. And I don't just mean here in this masterclass, I mean present with yourself, willing to pause, to feel, to be honest. Because if you're watching this, I already know something about you. You've done the inner work, you've journaled, meditated, visualized, listened to the podcast, read the books. You've created a life that at some point you probably dreamed of. Maybe you've manifested success, income, freedom. Maybe people around you admire what you've built. Maybe you're the one others go to when they're lost. But inside, there's still this ache, this subtle disconnect. Like you're living your life, but not really feeling it. Have you ever looked around and thought, I have so much, why do I still feel empty? Or maybe you've been lying in bed on a weekend, no alarms, no chaos, and still feel a tension in your chest you can't explain. Or you take a break, but there's this guilt that sneaks in, like you're not allowed to rest until you earned it. You're not alone. You're not broken. You're not ungrateful. I've been there too. Years ago, I built one of the biggest manifestation platforms online. I was coaching people around the world, sharing stages, living the dream. On paper, everything looked perfect. But behind the scenes, I was checking every box for a high vibe life. But my nervous system was screaming for a break. I had everything I once prayed for, but I couldn't feel the joy of it. I couldn't rest. I couldn't slow down. I felt like a stranger in the life I'd built. And then one day, the question hit me. What's the point of manifesting more if I can't even enjoy what I already had? That question cracked me open. It made me realize it's not about pushing harder or fixing yourself or pretending to be high vibe 24/7. It's about getting honest, feeling safe in your own body, and coming back into alignment with who you really are beneath the masks, the roles, the expectations. Let me say this clearly. You can be a high achiever and still feel lost. You can be successful and still feel unseen. You can have it all and still feel like something's missing. No one sees the weight you carry, the fear that if you stop holding it all together, it might fall apart, the shame that creeps in when you admit you're not okay, the exhaustion of being strong for everyone but never feeling held yourself. You're tired, but not just tired. You're tired of being someone instead of being yourself. And maybe the scariest part, you've stopped asking for help. Because who would believe you when your life looks so good? But I want you to hear this. You are not too much, and you are not broken. And you don't have to keep surviving your own success. You're here because a deeper part of you is done with the performance. You're ready for something real. You're ready to feel like yourself again. So, if your body is nodding yes right now, even if your mind is trying to figure it out, stay with me. Because this isn't about thinking better thoughts. This is about creating space to feel what's already going on and to finally receive the life you've worked so hard to build. Let's begin. Not from pressure or performance, but from presence. Let's find your way back to you. So let me tell you why I'm here talking to you today. Because I've been through this, all of it. And I want to speak to you not just as a teacher, but as someone who lived it. I didn't grow up in abundance. I didn't grow up feeling supported or safe to be myself. I was raised in Romania just when communism went down, a world where survival came first. People didn't talk about feelings, they didn't ask, who are you really? Violence, stress, fear, poverty, that was normal. I don't ever remember feeling emotionally held as a kid. No one showed up or showed me how to be with my emotions. I had to be strong, I had to keep going, I had to perform. And over time, I became very good at wearing masks, even if I felt lost inside. And on top of that, I had more than 12 surgeries before I even turned 18. So I didn't just feel unsafe emotionally, I didn't feel safe in my body either. And like many of you, I grew up believing that because of where I was born, because of my family struggles, because of the trauma I went through, I'd be always limited. That big dreams weren't for people like me. But I had this quiet inner voice that would show up and wouldn't shut up. Something inside me just knew that there has to be more. Then one day, I found a video from Bob Proctor, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, it doesn't matter where you come from. Your spiritual DNA is perfect. And I felt like he was talking directly to me. It hit me hard. For the first time, I didn't feel broken. I felt possible. And I made a decision that changed my life. I set a goal that honestly felt ridiculous at the time to bring Bob Proctor to Romania and share the stage with him. I was earning under $300 a month. To achieve a goal like that, I needed to set aside a salary for 20 years. But I used everything I was learning: visualization, scripting, affirmations, energy work, and within a year it happened. I stood on stage next to Bob Proctor in Romania. Then I started getting mentored by him. And soon after, I traveled to the US to work with him and join his team. And that was the beginning. From there, things moved fast. I built a $1 million brand, created one of the largest manifestation platforms online, traveled the world, spoke on stages, reached millions of people, and I've invested over $300,000 in my personal growth, certification, therapy, seminars, spirituality, trauma healing, all of it. From the outside, it looked like I had everything. And maybe you can relate. You've done the work, you've manifested results, you've created a life people admire, but inside something still feels off. Maybe you feel pressure of holding it all together. Maybe it's hard to rest without guilt. Maybe you feel like you've lost touch with who you really are. That's what happened to me. Even with the success, I still felt anxious. Even with the freedom, I couldn't enjoy it. Even surrounded by people, I felt disconnected from myself. Then I entered a toxic relationship, and that's when everything crashed. My nervous system gave out. I couldn't think straight, I couldn't find peace, and all the tools, the affirmations, the reprogramming techniques, the rituals, they stopped working. It wasn't the tools that were bad. They helped me up to a point, but now I needed something deeper. It wasn't that the tools were bad. They helped me up to a point, but now I needed something deeper. It was time to stop performing strength from wounds, to stop fixing and upgrading myself like a project, and to finally meet my aligned self. That's when everything changed. I stopped trying to force a high vibration. I stopped pretending I was okay when I wasn't. I let myself feel what was actually true. And that's when the healing began. That's when the peace came in. That's when I started to feel free, not just look free. And here's the part most people don't say: you don't have to give up your success to live in alignment. You don't have to burn everything down to feel whole again. You can keep your freedom. You can keep the abundance you've built. You can keep growing and expanding, but without the guilt, the shame, or the fear. Because when you're not carrying emotional weight, you show up different. You attract differently. You enjoy life without always bracing for something to be wrong. You stop pretending and start receiving. You feel safe being yourself, without the masks, without the pressure, without the need to prove anything anymore. That's the life I live now, and that's what I want for you. If I can create this shift, coming from where I came from, then you can do this too. And that's what this class is about. All right, let's get really honest here. You've probably seen that manifestation can work. You've used the tools, you journaled, visualized, repeated affirmations, listened to the podcast, stay in a high vibe, and yes, you've created results. Maybe you've manifested more income. Maybe your business has taken off. Maybe you've attracted a relationship or moved into a lifestyle you once only dreamed about. People around you might even say, amazing, you're killing it. They look up to you. You're the one who figured it out, the one who made it. But deep down, something still feels off. And here's the part most people never talk about. Even when manifestation works on the outside, it can still feel empty on the inside. Because the tools, as powerful as they are, often only shift the surface. They help you change your environment, but they don't always shift how safe you feel inside yourself. They help you attract more, but they don't always help you enjoy it. Does this make sense? They help you grow, but they don't always help you feel like you're in the process. And if you've been using manifestation to survive, to prove your worth, stay ahead, earn love, or avoid feeling what's really in there, then all that growth can start to feel like a trap. Here's what that can look like. You've manifested a new car at first, it seems like it's amazing, you celebrate it, but a few days later the joy fades. You're back to feeling anxious or disconnected, and you don't even know why. Maybe you've hit a big milestone in your business, the kind of thing you used to dream about. Everyone's congratulating you, but behind the scenes it feels heavy. You're overwhelmed, you're tired, and then there's that little quiet voice saying, why don't I feel happier? Or you finally had a weekend off and your body is craving rest. But the moment you slow down, you start feeling guilty. Like you should be doing something, creating something, earning something. So instead of resting, you push through again. Or maybe you know you're exhausted, but you're scared to slow down. Because what if everything you've built falls apart the moment you stop holding it all together? Or maybe the hardest one, you've built a career that's impressive, people respect you, but there's a quiet part of you that wants something else. Maybe something more creative, maybe more meaningful, or just more you. But every time you think about making a change, you feel shame. Like, I should be grateful. Why do I want more? And instead of honoring your truth, you shut it down. You start listening to yourself. You just keep everything looking stable on the outside. Sounds familiar? That's what I call the golden cage. A life that looks amazing from the outside, but feels heavy, hollow, or misaligned on the inside. And the worst part, most people won't even notice because you've spent so much time pretending you're okay that you don't even know how to let your guard down anymore. This is where so many high functioning, successful, spiritually aware people get stuck. Not because you're lazy, not because you're ungrateful, not because you don't know how to manifest, but because the nervous system is still stuck in survival mode, even when things look good on the outside. See, most of the manifestation world will tell you just to think better thoughts, raise your vibration, or believe harder. But here's what they don't tell you. You don't manifest from your mindset alone. You manifest from your nervous system. And your nervous system runs your whole state. If your body doesn't feel safe, you unconsciously block, resist, or even sabotage the very things you've been asking for authentically. Because safety isn't a mindset, it's a feeling. It's in your body, it's in your system, it's in your energy field. If you lived most of your life in flight, fight, or freeze, or people pleasing mode, or overperforming mode, there's no vision board or full moon ritual or high vibe playlist that's going to bring you the real peace you want. And here's what hit me hard in my own journey. If you had to be strong to survive, then softness or stillness will feel dangerous, will feel wrong, support will feel suspicious, and real receiving, joy, intimacy, freedom will feel unsafe. Not because you don't want those things, but because your system never learned it was okay to have them. So even when you do manifest the job, the income, the relationship, you're still bracing, still waiting for something to go wrong, still holding it all so tightly because you're afraid it's going to slip away. And that fear, it becomes the energy that drives your life. The very thing you're trying to escape becomes the thing you recreate. Not because you're broken, but because your body is still doing what it learned to do to protect you. So if you ever asked yourself, why do I still feel off even when things look great? Why does success feel so heavy? Why can't I just rest without guilt? Or why am I scared to slow down even though I'm exhausted? Why do I feel like I've lost myself in the image I built? Or why does it feel risky just to be me? Then this is why. You're not stuck because you haven't worked hard enough. You're stuck because you're trying to live fully on a foundation built on survival. You don't need more mindset hacks. You need a new foundation rooted in emotional honesty, soul alignment, authenticity, and nervous system safety. This is the piece almost no one talks about. And this is why so many smart, successful, caring people are quietly falling apart even when everything looks good. That's why I stopped chasing surface tools. That's why I created something different. Not a hack, not a trick, not another method that treats you like a self improvement project, but a path that brings you back to the real you, that helps you let go of the pressure, the pretending, the old survival patterns, so you can actually feel safe receiving what's already meant for you. And once I made that shift, everything changed. And it can for you too. Now that you've seen why traditional manifestation can stop working, even when you're doing everything right, let's talk about what actually works when you're ready to stop forcing and start feeling. Because there is a way forward, a way to stop performing strength, a way to get out of the emotional survival loop, a way to get out of the emotional surviving loop, a way to stop building a life that looks good and start living one that feels good. That's what I called the 4R method. A step by step path I've used myself and shared with thousands of others to come back into real alignment. Let's walk through it together. Phase 1, reveal. Start to notice what's really running your life and why it hasn't felt like you. We begin with awareness, not just intellectual awareness, but somatic, emotional, nervous system based awareness. Because here's the truth, most people think they're in control of their life, but what's actually running the show are unseen impulses, patterns, and survival responses that have never been questioned. Here's what it looks like in real life. You're saying yes to plans or work that drain you and don't know why you didn't say no. You feel anxiety in your chest just from seeing unread messages, even though no one's mad at you. You tell yourself, I need rest, but end up doing laundry or checking emails instead. You've got goals, but deep down you're scared to actually let yourself want them fully. In this phase, we slow down and start seeing the deeper patterns. You realize you've been playing roles for years. You realize you've been playing roles for years. The successful one who has it all together, the strong one who doesn't need help, the giver who never feels safe receiving. We help you start tracking the impulses in your body that override your truth. That rush of tension that makes you reply yes before even thinking. That drop in your belly when someone disappointed you. That feeling of guilt when you consider doing something just for yourself. We don't judge any of it. We'd get curious. Imagine what would happen if you had the tools to pause, to notice what was really driving your choices, and to gently create space. That's the first step. That's reveal. In phase 2, we release. We let go of the emotional armor and help your system integrate what's been protecting you from. Once you start to see what's underneath your actions, it's time to liberate it. And not by pushing through, but by supporting your system to feel safe again. Because a lot of what we think is just how I am is really unprocessed survival energy, guilt, shame, fear, responsibility, even hyperindependence. Here's what release looks like in real life. You stop snapping at people when you're overwhelmed because now you know it's not about them, it's an old pattern playing out. You catch yourself procrastinating, and instead of judging it, you realize your body is signaling I'm insecure, not I'm lazy. You're finally able to have a difficult conversation without bracing yourself for abandonment or attack. You can rest. I mean, really rest, without feeling like you're doing something wrong. In this phase, we bring in gentle but powerful practices. We process emotions that have been trapped in your body for years. We soothe the parts of you that learn to protect through overworking, pleasing, numbing, or avoiding. You stop resisting your own healing by trying to rush it or to fix yourself. This isn't about endless crying or rehashing your childhood. It's about giving your system permission to exhale. And that exhale, that's where people say, I didn't know it was possible to feel this much peace in my body. That's release. Phase 3, realign. We help you rebuild your life from truth, not trauma, from clarity, not coping. Now you've created space. Now that you're not being ruled by old impulses, guilt, or emotional tension, you get to build something different. This is where we help you realign your life, your routines, your decisions, your identity with who you actually are. Not the version of you that got applause, the version that feels real. Here's how realignment works in your day to day life. You stop saying, I should do this, and start saying, do I really want to? You switch from trying to be more productive to being more present. That actually increases your productivity. You go from checking your phone first thing in the morning to checking in with yourself first. You give yourself permission to let go of things that once made sense but don't serve you anymore. Maybe job, routines, relationships, patterns. We help you tune in to what actually lights you up. You get clear about what's aligned. You stop second guessing your every decision. You know what a full body yes feels like, and you follow it. This is the phase where life starts feeling good again, where people say, I'm not performing anymore, I'm just being, and that's enough. That's realign. And phase four is receive. Let it in, let it stay. Let yourself enjoy what you've been working so hard for. This is the part that changes everything. Most people don't struggle to manifest, they struggle to receive. In this phase, we focus on expanding your capacity to let good things in and feel safe holding them. Here's what it looks like: you get that opportunity and you don't downplay it, you own it. You spend quality time with your partner or your kids and you're actually present. You have a great month financially and you don't immediately look for the next problem. You receive a compliment or support and you let it land instead of deflecting it. This is where you stop almost enjoying your life and actually start living it. And we make sure you're supported, not just inside, but outside. You're no longer doing this alone. You've got mentors, soul led peers, and the real community who sees the real you. You stop hiding the soft, messy, magical parts of yourself, and they become your power. And we anchor it all in with aligned action. Not hustle, not urgency, but a kind of action that feels like this is who I am, this is what I'm here for. This is where people say, I'm not waiting for the life I want anymore, I'm living it. That's receive. So here's what the 4R method gives you. Number one, a way to finally understand why you feel the way you do and not judge it. Number two, a process to release what's been weighing you down gently and with support. Number three, a map to come back into alignment so your decisions, your energy, your actions actually feel like you. Number four, the capacity to receive the love, the abundance, support, and success you've always desired without pushing it away. And this isn't about fixing yourself, it's about coming home. This is the new way of manifesting, one rooted in clarity, authenticity, softness, and truth. And if something in you feels a full body yes right now, that's not hype, that's alignment. Let's take the next step together. You don't have to keep living inside the loop. This isn't about fixing yourself, it's about coming home. This is the new way of manifesting, one rooted in clarity, softness, and truth. You might be wondering, okay, but does this actually work for someone like me? Someone who's done the work, someone who's created some version of success, someone who's checked the boxes but feels like something's missing? Well, let me introduce you to a few people who once felt the same. Dana had built what most people would consider a dream career, a high level corporate role, financial stability, the kind of life others envied. But deep down, she was quietly unfulfilled. She felt disconnected from her joy. She carried guilt for even wanting to change, like she was being ungrateful for everything she had worked for. She told me, it's like I'm living someone else's dream. I have all the things, but it doesn't feel like me. Through the 4R method, Dana realized that the fear keeping her stuck had no real power. It was just a story she'd outgrown. She didn't need to burn everything down, she just needed permission to realign. Today, she's living in Europe, working remotely in the same industry, but on her terms. She traveled the world, spent more time with her family, and wakes up with clarity instead of guilt. She didn't abandon her life, she reclaimed. Then there's Jolie. Jolie has spent her entire adult life working for everyone else, her family, her team, her clients. She was always the strong one, the one who held it all together. But inside, she didn't even know who she was anymore. Her identity has been built on responsibility, on keeping the peace, on performing value, but never really feeling it. Inside the 4R method, something opened. She reconnected with her feminine energy, her softness, her creativity. She stopped overgiving. She stopped apologizing for needing space. She started listening to herself. And in that process, she came alive. Her business began to flourish, but more importantly, her inner world softened. She said, I finally feel like I'm building a life that reflects who I am, not what I was taught to be. And then there's Rick. From the outside, he had it all: success, income, status. But on the inside, he was locked in a golden cage, built on shame, fear, and the pressure to always be on. The more he tried to maintain the image, the more his anxiety grew. His eating habits worsened. He began to isolate, and he told me, I haven't felt truly free in years, even though I can technically do whatever I want. Through this work, Rick finally exhaled. He realized that what he needed wasn't another business strategy. It was permission to be real, to feel, to express. Today, he's back in his body, back in his joy. He's setting boundaries, speaking his truth, and running his company in a way that aligns with who he really is, not the person he used to perform. These aren't overnight fixes, they're lasting transformation because they didn't come from pressure, they came from alignment. And the same is possible for you. You don't need to abandon your life to change it. You just need a space where you're allowed to exist fully. That's what the 4R method offers: a space to stop performing, to stop apologizing, to stop pretending that success is enough, and to finally live from truth. You've created so much already. Now it's time to make it feel like yours. And if something in you feels a full body yes right now, that's not hype, that's alignment. Let's take the next step together. But I also know this: you don't have to keep living inside the loop. This is your moment to shift, not from pressure, but from truth. To live from your aligned self, not from your survival self. To stop surviving your success and start actually feeling free inside it. So if this hits home, here's what's next. Book your alignment strategy call with someone on my team. And let me be direct. This is not free therapy. This is not a vent session. This is a serious conversation for people who are ready to make real change. People who are willing to invest in themselves, not just financially, but with presence, energy, and intention. And I know reaching out for support might feel risky. You're used to being the one people come to, not the one who asks. But sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop pretending everything's fine. On this call, will help you get clear on what's really keeping you out of alignment. And it's not usually what you think. So you can stop second guessing yourself and finally make grounded, confident decisions again. Understand what's really going on under the surface, emotionally, practically, and energetically, so you can stop repeating the same loop and start moving forward with peace and power. And see if the 4R method is right for you and fit for your next chapter. The chapter where you stop performing who you think you should be and start living as who you really are, authentically, fully, without compromise. And if it's not a fit, we'll still guide you towards what is. But if this is your moment, you'll know and we'll walk with you. Because when you stop shrinking into the version of you that others expect and start expanding into who you really are, that's when real manifestation actually begins. Click the link, book the call. Let's start the next chapter from truth, not pressure. You're not here to manage your life, you're here to live it. I'm Tiberius, and I believe in what's possible for you. Let's go.